Hi, I'm Steve Leskovic, creator of the Life Skills Program, and I am here today with my wife, Ellen Kleinstuber. Ellen, thank you for being here.
Absolutely, happy to.
Ellen is Chief Actuary at Bolton in Baltimore, Maryland. It's an actuarial firm. She's got a math degree. Who has a math degree? Her. Okay. She is also the former president of the Conference of Consulting Actuaries. That's the organization that gives continuing education and keeps all the actuaries in the loop as to what's new in the laws, what's new in... Is there anything new in math ever?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay, what's new in math? You got me. Anyway, today is Women's History Month still. To close it out, I wanted to interview and get you guys to get to know a strong, successful, and competent, and just incredible woman. That's why I married her. So Ellen, let's start off. Young women succeeding in education and employment today. What would you say to these people who are looking to kind of meet that goal?
Yeah, so there's a number of things that are key to success, and a lot of these apply, frankly, to both young women and men. First is find a mentor. Right? None of us do this all on our own, and trying to figure out the world and navigate your way through it without having someone there to guide you is just making your life harder. So finding someone who's been there before, maybe has, if you're going into a new job, someone who is like a few years older than you, who has been doing the job already, who you can go to and seek out guidance and help them kind of guide you through success. This might be your manager at your job, but it might also be someone who's considered more of a peer. Or it might even at some point in your career be someone who is much more senior than you are, who can really help you to continue to grow and navigate through. And in the college setting, you have some professors, you have advisors, you have your resident assistants who may fill that role for you. The next thing I would say is raise your hand, right? When an opportunity presents itself, say, you know what, I'd like to do that. Challenge yourself, push yourself outside your comfort zone and take on something new. You'll learn about yourself, you'll gain new skills, and a lot of times it's hard to get those opportunities. So when you see them, create them for yourselves and overcome that natural fear that we all have of doing something different that we haven't tried before. What if I'm not going to be good at it? You might not be, but you might also be great at it. And that leads into visibility. When it comes to providing opportunities for people, it's natural that leaders and managers, they go to the people that they already know. And those are the people who they see. This has become a big issue in today's hybrid work environment or virtual work environment, particularly if you're hybrid and you have your manager has some people who are in the office with them and some people who are virtual. No matter how good the intentions are, it's natural to go to the people who you see, the people who you know the most. So do things to make yourself visible in a good way. If you're in a hybrid work environment and they give you the option to come into the office. When you have an opportunity to go and engage with your manager or leaders in the office, volunteer to do that in person if it's something that you're able to do. That visibility that you give to yourself, that sight line where you say, hey, you know what? I remember so-and-so took the initiative and came and talked to me the last time I was in the office. Let me go talk to them. They would be great for this new project that I have. And Steve has a great analogy that he does. I'm actually going to kick it to you to share the story about the bottle of water. No?
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah, no, you share this because you're going to tell it better than I. He's a better storyteller
because
than
I'm
I am.
shy. So, bottle of water. Just your bottle of water. You can buy that at the convenience store for $1, right? You can also buy it at a ball stadium for $3. You can also buy it at a major league stadium for $8. It's the same exact bottle of water. Where it is determines its price, determines its value. So if you're in a place where you're stuck and you got to pay the money to get the bottle of water because you can't leave the stadium and come back in, you're stuck paying it higher value. Whereas you go to a convenience store, you can pick between $20, 20 bottles of water.
Right. So when you're looking at, going out and leaving the academic environment and going into a job, if you're in a job and you don't feel that you're being valued, right? Maybe it is. I've seen a lot of people sit there and they'll just beat their head against the wall. Why don't they value me? Why don't they value me? Why don't they value me? Maybe it's time to go someplace else and look around and see, is there a place that does value you?
Oh, let me interrupt.
Yeah.
Is there something in there where that person might not truly value themselves and what they can offer? They could be questioning themselves before they dive right in and well, they don't value me, so I don't value me, and it becomes a vicious cycle.
Oh, absolutely. And it's hard sometimes, right? To do sort of that self-reflection and say, is it me or is it the people around me? And so there's something that I'm missing. Everyone else sees me a certain way. Am I seeing myself wrong? And sometimes we are. In a lot of cases, though, it is that maybe we're not showing the people around us what we really can do. You know, and sometimes the best way to sort this out is to go out and look and test the market. You may find that the grass is actually greener someplace else, and there's someplace that does see all that you have to bring and is going to value you like that $8 bottle of water instead of the $1 bottle of water at the convenience store. Or it may be that you kind of get your eyes open and say, oh, I didn't really understand what it was that's expected of us in this role. Now I know. Now I have information, and with information, you can act. So whether that act is stay where I am, up my game, get more visibility, get a mentor, invest in myself in this position, or whether it is let me go someplace else because that's a better fit for me, and what I have is going to work better for their organization than the one I'm in. So all of this, as you're navigating a career, sometimes it's feeling things out. And I've gone through experiences in my career where I was very highly valued right up until the time that I wasn't. And it was hard. It was hard to admit that. And it was hard to say it's time for me to move on because I was in a job that I loved. I worked with people that I loved. And it got to the point where what I brought to that organization wasn't valued any longer. And that's okay because I moved on to another position that was a better fit for me. And that's happened a couple times in my career. And I've still managed to, progressively succeed. So all of this stuff is not natural to navigate, and it's not necessarily natural for all of us to say, hey, you know what, this isn't working, I'm just going to try something else. Last thing that I would say on this for young women and for young men, particularly as you're early in your career, you're going out of school and you're going into the workforce. This may sound self-serving, but I will tell you as someone who's been a manager for over 20 years, it is so true. Learn life skills, right? One of the biggest challenges, and I say this now as a business owner.
Life skills.
As a business owner and someone who works with a firm, we do actuarial consulting, but we also do employee benefit, health and welfare program consulting. And one of the biggest financial drains for employers is presenteeism. What is that? That is people who so absenteeism, you're missing from work because you're sick or you have a sick kid or flat tire, whatever. Presenteeism is you're there at work, but your mind's not there at work. It's distracted. It's focused on something else. For young adults, it can be, I didn't manage my money well this month. How am I going to pay the rent? It can be, oh my God, I got to go grocery shopping. I hate it. I don't know how to do it. It can be, I got to make a doctor's appointment, or I got this explanation of benefits from my healthcare. I don't know what to do with this. I don't know how to manage these things. All the life skills that if you don't master them, they're going to distract you from being able to bring the best of you have to your job and to your career every day. So learning those early in life, and the earlier you learn them and start to master them, the more you're going to be focused on the things that are going to help advance your job and your career, going to allow you to go out and have a fun and happy social life, and bring the best of yourself to everything that you do.
Any other advice you're going to want to give to the next generation of women leaders in this country?
Oh, leadership is, that's a whole other ball game. For people as they start to advance through their career and move into those leadership roles, and women especially, we talk a lot in some of the circles that I'm in about the unique challenges that women leaders have and how we help them be successful. One thing I'll talk about is, stereotypes, right? We have stereotypes of men and women, and there are certain traditional roles that men have held. They've more been the leaders, and there's then the more traditional view of women's roles. And sometimes it's hard to break out of those, right? Women, by our nature, if we've got a morning meeting, we're the one that's going to make sure the pot of coffee is on. If we have a lunchtime meeting, we're going to make sure that we've thought about, hey, have we placed a lunch order for everyone so that they have food and can be, they're not hungry and can be focused on the meeting. We tend to fall into the role of note takers. And for women leaders, it's sometimes we fall into that trap too of relying on the women to fill the traditional roles. So it's not just men who default to these stereotypes. So making sure that we give both women and men the opportunity to fulfill each of these roles. Let the guys be the ones that are responsible for the lunch order. Ask the gentleman that's in the meeting to be the note taker. Rotate that around among the different members of your team. I'll go back to visibility that we talked about in the last question, but I'm going to do it from the other side, from the leader's perspective. It's our responsibility to make sure that we don't just gravitate to those people who we know and are most comfortable with already. We hold a responsibility to make ourselves visible within our organizations, within the groups of people that we lead, and get to know everyone on our team. Now, if you're leading a very large organization, you can't know everybody. Right? But the more that you can put yourself out there and let people get to know you, have you get to know them, it's going to make your ability to lead the organization better, and it's going to give you better sightlines into what your teams are dealing with, what's important to them, what they need to be successful, and how you help them to get the things that they need and be able to do the best work that they can. Same thing, I'm going to go with raise your hand again, right? For people who are aspiring to be leaders, challenge yourself. Put your hand up. Apply for that stretch role, right? There's traditionally, men will apply for a job if they check off most of the criteria. Women are more likely to only apply for a job if they check off all the criteria. It's just a difference in our natures.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I learned that a number of years ago, and it shocked me a little bit, but then I stopped and thought about it, and I said, well, yeah, that doesn't actually surprise me all that much as I look back on my career. So, if you don't challenge yourself and understand, if you're going for a stretch job, you might not get it, but you may also learn more about you might get it, you might learn more about yourself. You might learn more about where you need to develop so that the next time that job comes up, it's not a stretch for you. It's a slam dunk. And if the worst thing that's happened is that you have, again, put yourself out there and you've challenged yourself, if it's within your same organization, you've let the leaders of that organization know that, hey, I'm interested in taking that next step. And for leaders, looking for people and giving them opportunities to challenge and grow themselves. A lot of women feel sometimes that they have to, leave parts, same thing, sort of check parts themselves at the door or not really be who they are. My husband will tell you, I'm a very emotional person, right? I cry when I'm happy. I cry when I'm sad. I cry when I'm stressed. I cry when I'm angry. That's my pressure relief valve on my emotions. And I've had that held against me in my career. I was denied a promotion because a situation happened and I got very, very frustrated and very upset. Someone had a leader in my organization at the time had promised something to me if I did a certain thing, for a couple months and commute and work crazy long hours with someone who doesn't want you there, kind of thing. And they said, we'll do something for you, compensation at the end of the year. And when I inquired about it and they said, what, do you want a gold star for doing your job? I got upset and I cried and I walked out of the room. And when I was up for promotion the next year, this person brought that up and said, I don't think she's emotionally mature enough and ready to handle this job. She cried when I gave her constructive critique. Now, it turns out that person, as my career went on, ended up becoming a champion for me, right? A couple people pulled them aside and said, what are you doing? Why did you react that way? Why did you hold that against her? And I formed a wonderful working relationship with that person going forward. They were the one that championed me for promotion the following year, right? So you can turn adversity into positives, right? But always bring who you are, and don't be afraid to let people see who you are, right? I'm always looking up to the leaders that have been in my organizations, other people who lead, to understand what it is that they're all about. What are they looking for? Who are they? How do I navigate my relationships with them? And as leaders, if we don't bring who we really are to work every day, we're going to let the people who are working, under us and supporting the organization, those people who we're purporting to lead, they're not going to know who we are. They're not going to know what we want. So you have to just be yourself and not be afraid to be yourself, not apologize for being yourself. Understand when it's time to leverage different parts of your personality. I'm not the same person all the time. And there are different aspects to my personality, and I sometimes emphasize this one, and other times I emphasize that one. But there's always
Any of
me.
you who have a girlfriend know what she's talking about. I'm just gonna smile.
But those different parts of my personality are always me, and that's the part you want to remember. Just be yourself, and you'll stop people from trying to guess who you are and what it is you want. Listening skills. Listening. So verbal communication, how you listen, how you write, and then nonverbal communication, right? How do you, so don't sit there and act bored like that. But learning how to read body language. And for women, I think there's naturally an expectation that we're better at this than men. So it ups the game for us, right? We have to be good at it. All leaders, men and women, have to be good at this. This is essential in today's world to have strong communication skills. And then they start to branch beyond just the traditional communications and getting into things like social and emotional intelligence, being able to read people, read the undertones, know how to relate to people that communicate differently, that view things differently, that express themselves differently, that hold different opinions than you do, and really listening and understanding and engaging. And then for the leader, making sure that communication is happening, right? One of the biggest misnomers in communication is the perception that it's happened when it hasn't. So as a leader, say what you mean and be very clear about that. Make sure that your managers or the people who are reporting to you understand what it is you want from them, that they really get what it is you said, and then hold them accountable for fulfilling on what it is you've asked of them, right? All of these are essential to making sure that, communication happens, it happens effectively, because when it doesn't, it can be disaster for an organization. You have people who are running off in all different directions and doing their own thing, and they're not working together to fulfill on that common mission that the organization has, whatever type of organization it is, whether it is...
It's not even just organizations, professional organizations. This it can be a disaster even in a family.
Absolutely.
It can be a disaster with, you were going there, yeah, with your friends.
Yep. It can be, if you're in school, you ever have to do a group project, it's important there. You're a part of a sports team, it's important there. You're ever part of student senate or a club that you're leading, it's important there. Families, absolutely. We see it even sometimes with our kids and
well, even between us.
Yep. And
we have miscommunication. We have to expand upon without getting ticked off at the other person because we thought they said this, but they really meant that, and then we heard different. So yeah.
Yes, and Steve has finally learned how to interpret the Ellen sigh.
Yes. Yes.
Walk away for a few minutes. I'll be with you. Give me a few minutes. So yeah. So there's, again, all of these again, the sort of the risk of sounding self-serving, but you tie it back into these are all life skills. And they manifest themselves in different ways as you go throughout your life. But the foundational things that you learn are going to carry through. You know, you can't lead other people if you are a disaster, if your life is a disaster. You can't give everything, whatever the context is you're leading. If you're a resident assistant in college, if you're, you know, a shift supervisor working at a McDonald's, or if you're the president of a nonprofit association, you can't lead a group of people if you don't have your own house in order.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Each and every one of these points that Ellen brought up, we didn't plan this. I asked her, what would you want to say to women, or young women? And Ellen came up with these on her own. So each and every one of these points, though, is in the life skills curriculum. So again, check us out online, www.thelifeskills. I am just sitting here next to a beautiful woman. I don't even know how to speak. All right.
Steve, take 4.
www.thelifeskillscurriculum.com. Check out the program. Go to the bottom of the page, find our social media links. Please connect with us there, like, share, repost, all that good stuff, depending upon what platform you're on. And I guarantee you, there'll be something there for you or the young adult in your life.